every hour costs a developer.
Oh no, time kills developers. People don't understand, like the condos we did in Gulfport, which Tower 2, I'm not involved as a one of the builders, but I mean, time kills you. I mean, you think it's going to be 12 months or 18 months and it becomes 30 months. I mean, you pretty much took all your profits out.
I mean, I wonder how long it would took to do the shipping crate at on Howard Avenue that you're going to develop, because it's a bunch of shipping crates.
We offer home, auto, commercial, builders, rips, and life insurance.
Oliver's good.
Oliver Shots Insurance.
The Charm Neuron Podcast. I think we already are filming.
I mean, everything's set up perfect. Yeah, you're filming.
Put my headphones on. Am I in
We're
frame?
filling. Chris, how to?
I'm not gonna cross my legs.
Hair
like
look good?
Ivan, but- Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris Gibson at Gulf Coast Exotic Auto.
We're doing a podcast here. There's probably about 25 cars. Oh yeah,
Oh really?
25 cars here. What do you like to say?
30 cars.
They do consignment. Yeah, if you got an old classic or a new classic at your house, bring it here to sell it.
Yeah, we have probably 40 plus cars, but a lot of them are in our storage facility down the road.
And Chris, you bring a trailer?
Yes.
Yeah,
Bring a trailer.
we
Good partner.
we are a authorized partner of Bring a Trailer, so we pretty much do a lot of our business with them. They're probably the largest auction site now in the country, maybe even the world. So it's been a great partnership.
Oh, Chris, do you want to get in and us just redo it and add you? Yeah, I mean, we can always add you. I can come back and do another one with you. I like the floating around podcast on the local businesses.
Yeah, Chris is the man.
I mean, Gulf Coast is a family-owned business.
There's no doubt. Family, locally owned business. Kelly, my wife is actually Kelly's, Chris's sister. Thank God they don't look alike. But yeah. So it's definitely a
All
family
right,
owned
you've
business.
been on the show a lot, so if you want to go back and watch a bunch of stuff, let's cut to BS real quick.
Sure.
What has been happening in a year and a half? Ivan was in Biloxi. Now Ivan's now full time in Boca.
Yes, I'm full time in Boca. My entire family's there now. It's been great. Both my boys moved there. My oldest one moved there about 3.5 years ago, and my youngest son, my middle child, moved there about a year ago. So my daughter switched schools there in December of this year, and it's been phenomenal. You know, all the family's back together. So hardcore FOE. So it's been great.
And what's going on now here with your properties? And I mean, you have quite a few properties. I would say, more than 50 properties, huh?
Yeah, I probably in that range. I'm blessed. I got great management companies that help me manage my properties. I got Chris, my brother-in-law, who kind of runs Gulf Coast Exotic and kind of is like my eyes and ears over here. So I just been lucky. And at one time I was selling some stuff. I'm no longer selling anything else. I'm keeping everything I have. And I do believe the coast is a hidden gem, and it's great. And I think there's a lot of value here. So I'm keeping my property. I'm excited. We just had Bacchus on the Bluff move in to my property on the water over there, which has been a great success. And I have Bacchus in the Bayou in Ocean Springs. So it's been great working with the Nicos and getting them into two of my facilities.
Little rundown story. What brought you to the coast?
So my wife's from here, and her entire family. Chris is obviously her brother. After Katrina happened, we've always had a house here. After Katrina happened, I sold one of my businesses, so I couldn't work for a few years. So we built a house in Biloxi, and we decided to try it out. We loved it. We loved everything about it, like the charm. The lifestyle change was so different for me. I was used to, in Florida when I was working in my insurance business, I was wearing a suit and tie, working from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, 6 days a week, grinding it out. So coming here and being able to wear shorts and t-shirts and kind of lounging around doing deals was just a big change for me. I was sick of the fast pace. So for me, I really, really enjoyed, slowing my life down, coming here to Biloxi, and the people were great. So I really, really enjoyed my time. I spent 16 and a half years in Biloxi, and it just came to a point that we really wanted our family together, and my roots are in South Florida, and I really wanted to retire. So everything just came together and worked out perfectly, and we're extremely happy and everything's going well.
What are you going to do with these properties, though? Are you gonna are you still developing, or because I've had people ask me if you're developing anymore? Is your house sold?
No, so my house is not sold. I had it under contract. I had a couple issues with some windows, just finished it. I'm showing it again right now, starting this last week. So it will eventually sell. I'm in really no specific rush because I kind of need a place to sleep here while I'm here. But no, I'm not selling any more of my properties. I mean, I believe this is a great place to invest. I'm not looking to do any more development. It's just too difficult. I felt like it was too difficult for me to do it. I did I think a lot of great things here on the coast, a lot of buildings. But at this point in my life, I'm really looking to settle down and just.
What do you think
chill.
you've invested in the Gulf Coast over the years in just developments?
Man, a lot. Honestly, it'd be hard to put a number, but
You think it's over 10?
oh, well over 10. Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah. I mean, I spent well over 10 million.
All right.
I'd probably say closer to like, I to be honest, I don't even know, but I mean, just the condos, just the restaurants, the condos, all the places on Pass Road.
Am I allowed to hit you with, I'm just curious because people have asked us, you got arrested.
Yeah.
Recently, not too recently. How long?
Yeah.
A year ago?
Yeah, I got arrested. It was my daughter had a party. What happened was the 4th of July, and people were at our house, and my daughter had some friends over, and the cops came at 12:30 at night, whatever it is. I was sleeping, and they said that there were kids that were underage drinking, and meanwhile everything was dropped. There was not one person. They didn't have one person have a beer. They didn't do any alcohol testing on anybody. But they felt that people were out my house, and not even out my house, but they were out on the sidewalk. They believed that people were drinking, and they didn't do any testing. And they arrested me. They put me in at Biloxi Police Station, and then they brought me over to county. I was pretty upset about it, but they expunged it, and they made a deal that I couldn't sue the city for something. So just a typical. Good old boys network there.
Do you feel like that kind of affected your decision on development?
That was definitely the final straw. I mean, I felt like it was a complete setup. It was a complete joke. But
let's go into it. I mean, this is what.
No, I mean, listen, it was. I felt like some people obviously were unhappy with one of the projects I was doing, and maybe someone wasn't invited on. My daughter's boat or whatever it was, and someone called, and it was kids from Ocean Springs. I don't know the exact, nor do I really care anymore. Everything was dropped and expunged. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed. I called the chief of police, I called the mayor, and just, the response, the chief of police obviously, understood where I came from, and, obviously that's why they dropped everything, and they realized that I think they were heavily in the wrong. But it is what it is. You live and learn. And when you're out there and doing projects like that, there's a lot of haters out there, and I felt like I got really, really targeted, and I was very disappointed in the way the city kind of handled it. So I pretty much decided I'm not doing any more projects out here.
Yeah, man. Because I don't know. I haven't been diving in. Jared with Biloxi Politics Uncensored.
Yeah.
I see you in the comments.
Yeah, so he was the first one that, that's kind of how all this thing started. I mean, he was the first one. I was personally attacked hard. I know a lot of people are getting attacked. People don't realize I was the first one attacked. I have nothing to do with them, and some people think I do. But I mean, they destroyed me on their very first project that they wanted to crush, and I spent a lot of money on the infrastructure on Pass Road to do the container project. And he got a huge group, huge petitions. And I was voted down by the city. I was voted by the planning commission unanimous to approval, and then I went to the city council, and he brought a whole bunch of people, and they denied me. So listen, it is what it is. I didn't make a big deal about it. I even had him on a podcast with you.
Could you tell me how much you invested in that project that didn't come to life?
I would say on that project probably $150,000, and I had an order in for $400,000 in containers.
That's a lot of money to sit around.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, that's the risk of development. You do plans and do different things, and you spend a lot of money to do projects, and hopefully it works. And that's one of the biggest problems here is you think you're going to be able to get a project done, and you're told certain things from city members, and a lot of times it doesn't come to reality. Just because it's different. I'm not born here. I'm not raised here. So I might not have the ins that some other people have. That I believe there's a really big good old boy system here. And you know, it's just I'm not a Slavic, so I didn't have, you know, that kind of a pull. So, you know, I got denied on a few different things, and I got a lot of pushback on a lot of my projects that I don't think others would get a pushback on.
When was your first development on the coast? Do you remember what year?
My first development on the coast, in the beginning, I had some friends of mine that are, you know, pretty well-known guys down here, politicians, whatever it is, and I started doing like housing and flipping and homes. I think that's kind of how it really started. So that was probably, I'd say, the first, and maybe the very first one might have been Gulf Coast Exotic, the old location on 2747 Pass Road. That might have been my first. I took that building that was an old jewelry store and kind of converted it into Gulf Coast Exotic. It was a very small building, a few thousand square feet. We kind of gutted it, we kind of made it kind of cool. And that was probably I would imagine the very first commercial space I did on the coast.
And what year was that?
Man, had to be 14 years ago.
Shit.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. So, you know, Gulf Coast Exotic's been open for a while. You know, we've been, you know, having some fun, doing some stuff. Hasn't been a crazy successful financial business, but it's been a lot of fun. Chris has done great. I think we brought a lot. We've been able to do a bunch, and we're really learning each and every year to get better and better.
And it allows you to drive almost any car you want.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so
there's a perk.
Well, I'm a car collector, so like, you know, pretty much every car in here I own. So, you know, I'm a car collector. I love cars. And yeah, so it gives me the ability to go to auctions, enjoy my stuff, do that kind of stuff, and try to build. But I mean, it's a real business. I mean, we do a ton of sales. We do millions and millions of dollars of sales. It's just a tough business. It's not easy. You know, I'm mainly in the insurance business and the real estate, so I kind of known that and kind of fine-tuned it. This space, I'm not as, I would say I'm not as savvy as I am in some other areas.
Are you still in the healthcare industry?
Yeah, so I'm completely retired right now, so I'm not doing anything today. But yes, I mean, I own interest in, you know, my healthcare companies and other stuff like that.
Did you sell a company and you're just retired right now, or?
No, so I mean, no, not that I really sold. So I was a large owner of a private equity fund in the insurance space, and I still own equity, but I don't have to run day-to-day business. It's owned by a private equity fund now, but I'm just an equity owner.
Oh, so you get to come in and just.
Yeah, I don't even get to go in. I don't do calls. I don't do anything. You know, hopefully one day it sells and does really well, and you know, it's a nice little payday.
Well, we got some of that out. I mean, let's talk about you growing up in Boca, though, because I remember you telling me what your grandfather had a gas station.
Yeah, so I grew up in Boca. I was living in New York. I moved when I was a baby. My grandfather was in the gasoline business. Did well. He was very, very young, and his son passed away of cancer at like 16 years old. So when he passed away, he kind of, you know, it did a lot to him. So he moved to Florida, sold all of his gas stations in New York, moved to South Florida, and then pretty much kind of lived off that. You know, when he passed away, obviously, you know, he went through all that money, but he was an amazing mentor and an amazing person, and taught me a lot about business and people in general.
You still have that gas station now?
No gas stations. That hasn't been around for 40 plus years.
That was just kind of cool. You know, I think we talked about probably a couple weeks ago. You know, you've been on the podcast. Guys, you got to go back and listen to all his shows. He's been on the podcast like probably 10 times.
Yeah.
It's always been cool to have you on, and that's when, you know, when I found out you're coming back to Biloxi, what you told me you're going to be doing like 2 to 4 days a month.
Yeah, so I don't, you know, it just depends. It really depends, but that's kind of like the goal. Like I like to come back, just check everything out, make sure my properties are good, and see people, friends and family. And you know, my whole family will come back on, you know, different holidays to see Kelly's family.
Development now.
Development now. I mean, I'm not really looking to do in development right now. I'm investing in a lot of properties in South Florida, but just as a pure investor. No development. So I'm just investing in different properties. I bought in a bunch of condos, invested in some stuff, but no day-to-day action, no development at all.
See, that's the one thing people have been hitting about is, well, Ivan's got to be done with development now, because I mean, you did sell that property, upstairs, downstairs property.
Yes,
The ones
I
that
s-
had the big giant blue fence.
yeah, that's one of the biggest when everything happened in downtown Biloxi, I was having a lot of issues getting stuff approved. I was going to do the container project, and then I had that issue with the police officers, and so I was kind of very, very turned off at the time. So, the city, everyone always thought that that property was like city owned, so people would park their property and stuff like that, and I was always liable if someone got injured, and the city didn't want to insure it. So um, I don't know. I felt like I put a big blue fence around it to protect myself, and I was worried that I was going to get sued for any reason whatsoever. And then I was lucky enough to find a buyer that has bought in it, and they might supposedly do one of my original plans that I already built on it, which was I think it was going to be Logan Lofts, which is kind of, but I don't know if it will ever happen or come to fruition. It's just very, very tough to get stuff approved and to make money. And a lot of the city officials want to put their input into it, their color, their design, whatever else it is. They always want their little touch.
You don't really talk about this much, but what would a person coming up in this world, what would be some good advice to get started in, like, say, the healthcare industry like you have? Could you give me some insight of what some good things to start for? Let's say if who cares? You're starting in your 40s, you're starting in your 20s. Could you give me some advice on how would you start over again?
Well, when I started, I was just a pure salesman. So, I mean, I went door to door selling individual health insurance. Those days are come and gone. So it's a completely
Bring
different.
the mic up a little bit.
It's a completely different world now. So nowadays, believe in yourself no matter what you do. If you're doing insurance, if you're doing stocks, if you're being AI, whatever it is, you got to believe in yourself and invest in yourself. But you got to put 100% effort into it. One of the differences between here and like South Florida, I'm down in South Florida and I see my sons and stuff like that doing it. These kids in South Florida, the grind is real. Like kids are working like, 60, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And come to the coast and just so much more laid back. You see people, they're playing golf on a Tuesday or Wednesday, or they're doing this. I mean, it's just in the real world, if you want to make it, you got to grind your ass off for the first 15, 20 years of your life, and it will pay dividends. But I think on the coast here, it's just so laid back and relaxed that it just, people are content with some stuff. So that's why I'm super happy that my boys both decided to go down there, really try to make something of themselves. And, and then when you get older, you can, enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Insurance. Could you tell me how you found insurance?
Yeah, so when I graduated college, I had a good friend of mine. His dad was in the insurance space from Texas. And he said, hey, this is a good opportunity. I went and took my exam, didn't know much about it. And I started selling health insurance through his dad's company. It was called United Benefit Life out of Fort Worth, Texas. But I was selling it in Florida. And I started selling in Miami. And pretty much they'd give you leads. You'd call up, you set appointments, and you go door to door. And I did that for a few years until I met a much older man named Peter Noward, who's passed away. And he kind of got me involved in the online insurance agency. So selling insurance, but instead of going door to door, you were able to do everything online in e-signatures, kind of like everything is done today. So, and kind of just grew and built from that. And then instead of selling insurance, I started recruiting other agents and other, people selling the products.
That's how it started.
Yeah. Then I started recruiting agents and built it. And, at times I had, over 2,500 agents.
So what do? You build like a call center?
Yeah. So call center is kind of the only way to do it now. And even if you're going to do any kind of volume, you have to do it in either an in-house agency or a call center. There's no way you can do mass volume without it. You can't go door to door or that kind of stuff. I mean, we have guys that, our main company does 2,000 deals a day. I mean, it's a lot of volume. That's just that's the business. You can't just do 1, 2, 3, 5 deals a day. We have a facility that I'm still obviously an investor in Arizona and Florida and California that, I mean, you have 200, 300, 400 people in there, and that's all they do. And they're individual agents, work for employees of our company, and they sell insurance, and they sell all the big carriers throughout the country.
What's some of the what's some of the big mistakes that you learned along the way in losing money? Like, I know it's a roller coaster, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? So in the insurance business, it's more of like a very steady climb. There's no quick buck. So it's not like, oh yeah, you're going to make a fortune one day or the other. So the insurance business to me has always been slow and steady. One of the good things about the insurance business, like it's, residual income. So the more you grow, you keep building on your block of business. So I never really had crazy ups and downs in the insurance business. I was very lucky that I knew how to build and I knew how to exit. So I've had opportunities that I was able to sell blocks of businesses, sell exclusivity rights of my businesses, but I've always kept my agency. So I've learned I've made a lot of mistakes in other areas, investing in other stuff, private deals or real estate deals. I mean, real estate's tough. People don't realize, everyone's like, oh, I want to get involved in real estate. It's not that easy. You can go build a project and before you know it, you're 30-40% more than what you thought you were going to be. So, you go in for a budget, you really got to put your pen to the paper and really make sure you know what you're doing correctly.
Now, so when you do these real estate deals, so you said you got 4 or 5 of them going right now?
Yeah, well, now all I do on my real estate deals, I'm just an investor, true investor. So I'll buy, I just bought a couple condos, that won't be ready for 2, 3, 4 years from now. Buy early, friends and family, try to be one of the first ones in, and hopefully they appreciate. And then when they appreciate, you decide you either want to rent them out, you want to sell it, or whatever it is. I mean, why I love real estate is real estate gains you really great wealth. You kind of build it, let people pay off your mortgage, and now you own a lot of land or real estate that's generating some income as well.
Do you feel, when did you start feeling that any type of like loose kind of breath, you're just kind of, I'm trying to say it as you being, the weight lifted off your chest. Sorry. The weight lifted off your chest when you were in business, when you found that you had that right team. How long did that take to build a team to get to that point where you felt like you had a number 2 guy?
Well, I've been lucky. So in my insurance space, I've had my right-hand man. He's been with me for 25 plus years. Almost all my businesses, everyone's been with me forever. In most of my investments, I've had a partner for 25 plus years. All my closest friends have 25 plus year relationships. And I still do business with them today. I mean, the one big thing in businesses is trust. I mean, you need to trust someone with everything you have. So if you can find that partner or those people you do business with, trust is the absolute most important thing. Because you can't do everything yourself. It's impossible. If you want to grow, you need to be able to delegate, and you need to be able to delegate to the right people. And that's one of the tougher things to do. Since I've been here, like I personally like doing real estate myself. I like being the sole owner just because I've dealt with partners and stuff like that before, because they might have a different interest than you. They might want to take a project and they see this a good little payday. They might want to sell. I might want to keep it, or vice versa. So it's sometimes easier just doing it yourself. And also financially, now with banks, if you have a partner, both of you are on the hook no matter what. So when you're by yourself, it's you or no one else.
It's you and Kelly.
Yeah, it's Kelly probably owns more real estate than I do. I mean, she's probably.
I'm just you get in this situation where I feel a lot of social media is spent on with you getting arrested or how do you operate businesses, and then sitting with you and you talk about how you've worked in the healthcare industry for how many years now? I mean,
I started when I was 22. I'm 53, so.
Yeah, what is that? Yes, 29, 30 years, something like that. But no, I always found that fascinating because I've told you like where I've got messages from that event at like midnight, 2 a.m. of getting you on the podcast right then and there, and I'm like, I got to reach out to you because I mean it's high school.
Oh yeah,
and I mean and that was a situation where I always get people like I know what you're doing day to day, and I don't. I just invited you on a podcast.
Yeah.
And you've been on 10 times. It's sad that you're not looking to develop some of these nice properties you have over a lot of this stuff that you've been going through. And you did tell me that. You told me when that blue fence went up, that was it for you.
Yeah. I mean, everyone gets to a point in life, it's I just want to kind of like scale back, enjoy my life. Health is wealth. I've had so many friends, especially down here, that have gotten sick and passed away or are sick currently. And you realize like the most important thing is not money, it's health. I mean, if you could have as much money as you want, but if you're sick or can't enjoy your life, it's important. So, I have one of my close friends right now that's really sick, and it's just sad. I had to see him last night, and it's sad. You realize how important health is. So, I got to a point that I felt I was financially pretty much secure. and I wanted to spend a lot of time with my kids. And I was like, you know, let me just do this, enjoy myself traveling, and just enjoy my life. You know, I'm 53. You know, I got, you know, another 15 years, hopefully travel a lot, enjoy myself, and then hopefully one day maybe I'll have grandkids and stuff like that and get to enjoy that as well.
What what would it take? What would it take to get Ivan fired back up about helping the coast redevelop?
Man, I don't know. I mean, the coast is
And
you know,
that's it for me. I'm
and
asking.
I'm driving just you know, just being here for the last couple of days, you know, there's a lot of development here. I mean, it looks like there's a lot going on, you know, a lot of new developments. I don't know if some of it's good, bad, whatever it is. The Markham building, the hotel just opened, which is amazing. I know Rick and Roy are doing a great project in downtown Gulfport, which I think is amazing. I just think there's so much. The problem is I think the leaders are they're asking people to do the projects that might not have the best interest in the projects. You know, there's a lot of local people that, you know, put a lot of time and money into these projects. You know, I know a lot of people were bashing the guys that are doing what's that chicken restaurant on Pass Road?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, you know. But I mean, you know, and they took down some trees and stuff like that. I don't know whose fault that was, whatever it is, but obviously the city approved it. Now that the city's approved it, you can't blame these developers. So these developers are building a Chick-fil-A, which is going to bring a huge amount of traffic, and it's only going to increase the value of all the stuff around there. So, you know, I'm not, you know, saying who's right, who's wrong, but these investors are going to spend the money. If the city approves it and they approve them, you know, that's the city. I mean, the city has made, especially the city of Biloxi, a huge amount of mistakes. And that's why that guy, Jared, has gone so crazy on him. Huge amount of mistakes.
He goes to newspaper.com.
Is that what he has?
You go to newspaper.com and you can pull up all articles. I mean, this is what he does.
Yeah. So,
and I'm able to have long conversations with him about it, but he does his research.
yeah.
So if he can pull up an old courtroom
Yeah.
or old council meeting.
Yeah, so I mean, what he's done, listen, he hurt me very badly on that one project. I learned, and but I do understand what he's doing. And people think I'm involved. I have zero involvement in that whole website or whatever he has.
He's not, but it's Jared. I mean, he's been on the show, and what Jared does, he looks up stuff in his time. He enjoys research, and it was just one of the people that, I don't know, a person that puts his heart into it because he still serves, you know, in the military.
Yeah.
He loves researching news, and he loves satire. And when you put a combination like that, I mean, look, people are like, well, why are you going to have him back on? And I'm like, because I find him to actually be, outside of him doing his paper and stuff, I mean, he's got 4 kids, serves our country.
I don't know him personally that well, so I don't know his kids or his family.
He's just a super nerd that likes like one or two IPAs,
right?
And if you say, that's why the tree stuff is so important, because he's sitting there, he's doing his research.
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, I know I've watched him. I follow his site, and I think it's actually very, very interesting. And I believe he's right in a lot of things. I believe he's wrong in some things, but believe he's right.
Oh, he's right and wrong on it, but he's doing it. I'm just saying. You said earlier, you got to give it 100%.
Yeah, he gives it 100%,
and he's giving it 100%. Right or wrong. I'm not saying he's right on everything, but I'm saying this is what this guy has created, and it fell into a situation with the city. Then you were in it. We had you on the show. What upsets me about it, because I take like the Sands, and I know the Sands is doing great now. But I remember I'd seen a pop-up. It was like a photo of me and Butler in the window 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just knew what Butler went through, him and Josh, what they went through with like paying the power bill while they had to wait for the project to stay still. You know, everybody thinks that these developers have unlimited money, and every day, every hour costs a developer.
Oh no, time kills developers. People don't understand, like the condos we did in Gulfport, which Tower 2, I'm not involved as one of the builders, but I mean, time kills you. I mean, you think it's going to be 12 months or 18 months, and it becomes 30 months. I mean, you pretty much took all your profits out.
I mean, I wonder how long it would took to do the shipping crate on Howard Avenue that you're going to develop, because it's a bunch of shipping crates.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much had it all done. I mean, we were going to build them out. That that's I try not to look at the past anymore.
Yeah.
But that was a project that I was really, really excited about. I mean, I spent a ton of money on statues. I thought it was going to be something really, really
They're all
cool.
around here.
Yeah, there's a lot of them here. But I spent a lot of money. I put a lot of time, a lot of effort, did a lot of research, and I'm sad it didn't come to fruition. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason.
But I'm saying the time would have been fast.
Yeah. Oh, the time would have been fast.
If you would have just, I don't know.
It would have been done in, I would think, between 12 to 15 months for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some good times podcasting, and I'm extremely proud of you for honestly making Pass Road. You know, there's still hope for Pass Road.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
I'm right
no doubt.
here on Pass Road in one of his developments, and you've seen it so many times when you pass by here. But this wasn't here a few years ago.
No, I mean, it started off with one building, and then it just led to seven of them all next to each other. So I mean, this was a great project, and we've seen a lot of growth because of it, and I'm super proud of it. So these are great things to happen, and I know I just read in the paper, I guess they're trying to do like more Pass Road, more towards the military base, which is great. It's just the problem is you got to get the investors to do it. You got to make it easier for the investors. They're coming into a blighted area, which is really, really tough. You need to make it easy. You can't tell them, hey, we want shrubbery around the sidewalks. Well, no one else has got shrubbery, and people are just going to throw trash there. You got to make things easier for these developers,
so they can get in and start making money.
Yeah,
returns.
And it's tough, and people don't understand. Like, you build these projects, it's very, very, very tough to make money right away. I mean, it's a long-term investment. You're going to make money over years and years and years by people paying down your note and stuff. But it's not quick bucks. And now with the cost of interest rates and building costs, the odds of making even cash flowing day one is very, very rare. So, people that are doing these projects, you think they're making a lot of money. They're not. It's tough. And it's a huge commitment, and it's a huge risk. And I don't think people realize that as much as they just think, oh, developers are doing it to make a quick buck. It's not that easy.
How do you handle, and this is you say it, but you've over the years you've had haters.
Oh, listen, if you haven't been successful in life, you don't have haters.
Well, the comments. I mean, you go in there and it's like,
it's humorous. Like, to me, I'm like, hey, that you hate me so much, you want me to sign a picture and send it to your house. I mean, I got haters all the time. But if you don't have any haters, you've never made it in your life, and you've never taken the next step. Every single person should have haters. So it's important. A lot of people hate you because they're not you. And listen, some people might hate, jealousy is especially on the coast. Jealousy it's insane. And I just hear people talk about other people, and it's incredible. Like in South Florida, I'm a peon. Like, I mean, there's a million of me. I'm a little minnow. And here, people think you have a little bit of money or whatever else it is, or you're doing some development. They want to see, everyone wants to see you fail, which is a really sad.
What is your routine to get up in the mornings? How do you get your day started? I'm more interested in the listeners. I'm just trying to find listeners tips from Ivan on how he starts his day and how he makes money.
Well, now, I mean, today?
No.
Okay,
no.
so
You
today,
just retired.
Today, pretty much, I'm really into a sport called padel, or paddle, however you want to say. So I play it pretty much almost every day now. I've gotten really into it. But they don't have it here in Mississippi, but it's huge in South Florida, huge in like other big cities. So that's kind of what I pretty much do now. I wake up, I go play padel, I go to lunch, whatever, just enjoy my life. But back in the day, I mean, when I lived here, I'd be on the phone really early because most of my business was in the East Coast time. So I'd be up by 4:30 or 5 in the morning, work out or try to work out, and then be talking on the phone and doing stuff. And then I'd go look at projects. I look at, see what I wanted to buy. Most of my projects I usually have calls about. I bought most of my stuff off the market. People needed to sell, kind of like Ocean Springs, McElroy's. Mickey called me up. And that's kind of how most of my deals happen. It really wasn't like going on MLS. A realtor would call me and say, hey, are you interested? I didn't really go out like searching. A lot of the projects found me, and if I found it intriguing or not, I usually take the shot. It was hard for me to say no. If I found a good deal, that was one of my weaknesses. I always wanted to pursue.
Would you get back into healthcare?
So I'm in it right now.
No, but I'm saying if you were 21 years old, what would you do if you're 21 years old?
Man, if I was 21 right now, I'd focus 100% on AI. I mean, AI is the future. I mean, you could see it. No ifs, ands, and buts. Both my kids are in the insurance business, and AI is probably 50% of their business. AI is just taking over. I would spend every minute I have in the day learning about AI. And the problem is, like, I have guys that are, financial analysts at big firms. I mean, they're going to lose their jobs because now, I mean, you could plug in and say, hey, I want to know what stocks to invest in. Tell me about Google. Tell me about Amazon. Tell me about this. And it will give you everything about it that any analyst can go do it themselves. So I believe if you're not in that arena right now, you're going to be in a really bad situation. Now, if, guys, the hot businesses now are like guys that are doing electricians or HVAC. Those are some really solid businesses right now because AI, I think, is going to take a lot of the higher end businesses, jobs away from people.
I was watching. So, what's your take on this ballpark stuff going on? There's a lot of movement and stuff that I've seen in Biloxi, like selling ballparks. Have you seen any of this stuff?
Yeah. So to me, listen, I don't know about that, but I actually commented because I couldn't believe the city was trying to sell a park when in a deed it says you can't sell it. So luckily, the grandchild of that person came up with a deed and said, look, you can't. It's in the deed that it has to be a park. So it just disgusts me that the city somehow was making a proposal saying, hey, we're going to sell this park when if they didn't do due diligence and see and read the deed that you couldn't do it. So they were trying to sell it and build apartment complexes or some sort of housing. When someone goes and donates that property, I don't think any park whatsoever should be always a park. Especially if it's owned by the city and someone donated it as well. Those are the kind of things that kind of make me upset is like how the city of Biloxi is so over budget. I mean, it's probably it's got to be the highest tax revenue city on the coast, or maybe definitely the state of Mississippi. And, all of a sudden you're asking for a $18 or $15 million bond, and now they want to increase taxes. I just don't understand with all the growth that's happened in Biloxi with new projects and new stuff and new tax revenue. I just don't think the city or the people involved know how to manage their budget. If they were a CEO of a company, they'd all be fired. So like me and you, and we have budgets every day. If you can't budget your finances, what's going to happen? You're going to be living on the streets. Yeah. For the city to keep asking for money here, money there, money that, let's sell a park to raise money. To me, that's absurd. I mean, you got to be financially responsible, to run a city. And to run a city like Biloxi with the gaming and everything else we have here is crazy to me.
I mean, there's always something. I've just been on last month I've been on not a heavy social media besides throwing out the old throw reels. It's just, I don't know. My take on the park, I mean, if it was like you said in the deed, I would just get that park going. Kids need parks.
Oh, no doubt. And we spend money on such nonsense. I mean, those are the things that are important. Parks and stuff are really important. It's not hard to clean them up. And the funny thing is it's easy. You can get people to volunteer to clean it up. You say, hey, let's do a volunteer cleanup at Hiller Park on Sunday, and I'll bet you'll have 50 people there helping you out. People love that stuff. And community service for kids. You know how many high school kids want community service? Let's go to Biloxi High and say, hey,
I need community service for Carter's Champions.
So, I mean,
I use it.
So community service is amazing. So, I mean, you could do community service for these high schools and middle schools saying, hey, let's have a weekend you clean up. We're going to give you 8 hours of community service, which looks great for colleges and other stuff. And you'll get a lot of people out there cleaning up. But they just don't think out of the box.
We might have to do like an Oliver Scott insurance cleanup day.
Yeah.
So this year, I must let you know, we moved the Pink Dress Run to October 17th, and it will be at 4 p.m.
Wow. I like that better. I think it's better. You kind of get the sunset and not as hot.
And I'll have Hunter Merrick. He's like a Mac Miller. Okay. I'll have him kick it off, and then we'll have 3 bands. Registration will start at 2. I just thought it was better to go at 4. We doubled in size last year. I was trying to look for you last year.
I know. I saw John. And I'm super upset John's leaving. Guy from
he needs to be there.
I know, but for John, he is diehard coast family. tradition here, and to have someone like him with such an impact that he's done in our community to, leave here to go to Texas, to me is just like, you're losing another super important person that, from the coast, that you want to do everything you can to keep those kind of people.
Best thing, last year he came in like the last 2 weeks of Carter's Champions. We had our talk, and he looked at me. It's like we were sitting on the back of his tailgate to break the news that he's going to do this. And he's like, I really, we're sitting on the back of his truck. It was 10 o'clock at night. We were setting the run up. It was just me and him in the back of the truck, and he broke the news to me, and he kind of told me a little bit, but I told him, we're over 40, dude. It's time. We always got each other, and he is a part of Carter Champions. But last year he took a break until the very end, and he was like, he told me, man, if you don't even want me on stage, I won't go on stage. I said, John, just clean it. Let's do this. Yeah. We've been doing this for 10 years. Yeah, I'm going to be sad, but not really, because guess what? I'm going to visit them.
No, Dad. And listen, you got to do what's best for you and your family, just like I did. I packed up and left, and it was the right time for me and my family. It was always our game plan. It wasn't like suddenly I was going to leave. I mean, our game plan was when Bella graduated high school and my boys were already living there, that we already built a house there. So it wasn't like, oh, all of a sudden I left overnight. It was always the plan. We probably just left a year and a half
Y'all like
early.
it over there more, huh?
Yeah, we love it. I mean, it's been a great change. There's just so much to do. There's so much to do. You wake up, it's beautiful out. You get to, you can walk to restaurants. There's just so much to do, and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing transition for us. I never thought I'd like it as much as I do. Also, I found a great passion in a sport, padel. So it's been great.
Say that again.
Padel. Some people it's called padel, or some people call it paddle. It's huge in Europe. Actually, they have more padel courts in Spain than they do tennis courts. Huge in Europe, huge in all those countries over there. Become huge in Florida, huge in New York, huge in other areas. It's kind of like a combination of tennis, pickleball, and racquetball. It's in a glass enclosure, but no roof on top, and it's just an amazing sport. And it's gotten me in great shape, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
Well, Ivan, I appreciate you coming on the show. Will you come back on in the future?
Listen, anytime. Listen, Jordan, you're like a little brother to me. You're definitely younger than me. I mean, but it's been great. I mean, and I wish everyone the best on the coast.
I just know that when I get you on the show, we've had always a great time doing this, and it's just you honestly have never done anything wrong. And it's just to watch us do these shows, whether it's the Biloxi Cheer Dad, or these iconic, I get people come up to me all the time, and then it's just like, you did that. I'm like, you're damn right. I mean, this is free market. This is a free platform. That's why I never make it where somebody owns it. This is free. Anybody can do a podcast.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the thing, on the Biloxi Cheer Dad, I've had so many people reach out to me that having issues in other schools, and so many positive things out there. I wish I could have went into more depth, just because we had some headaches. Like, they didn't want me to go out there. But look, everything happened for a reason. Both those coaches
all worked out.
Both those coaches had to step down. The athletic director now is no longer there. He's retiring, quote. So it's been great. I think everyone's kind of realized what's happening. I think Biloxi high schools kind of realize what's happening. Hopefully they kind of get rid of that culture, and you don't have those people that were involved in all these scandals still involved in that area.
Well, here you go. You're here. He'll be back on. Subscribe, like, or whatever. Talk to you later.
Talk to you. Bye-bye.